It was supposed to be peaceful, quiet weekend camping trip, far from work, noise, and the chaos of the city. Just trees, stars, and silence. But silence can sometimes hide things you never want to hear. The story was sent by a listener who swore every word is real. If you've ever gone camping alone, you might want to think twice before you do it again. The story begins in late October. Ethan, a 28-year-old photographer, decided to spend a weekend in the deep woods of Oregon. He'd been stressed, working late, sleeping less. Nature was his escape. He drove 6 hours from Portland, parked by an old trail, and hiked another 2 miles with his camera gear. He wanted to capture the raw beauty of untouched wilderness. The campsite was perfect, clearing beside a quiet lake, surrounded by towering pines. No cell service, no nearby campers, just the sound of wind through branches, the faint ripple of water. He set up his tent, built a small fire, and started recording vlogs for his photography channel. Everything looked normal until the sun began to disappear. By 8 p.m., the forest had turned black. Fire cracked softly as the lake reflected the moonlight. Ethan sat with his camera, filming long exposures of the stars. But he noticed something strange in one of the frames. A faint light deep between the trees. It wasn't firelight. It flickered like a flashlight, slowly moving. Then it vanished. He brushed it off. Probably another camper, he told himself. There were no other cars parked along the trail. An hour later, while boiling water for coffee, he heard footsteps. Soft, careful, circling his tent. He froze, listening. No wind, no animals, just footsteps. He called out, "Hello? Anyone there?" No response. The fire popped. For a second, he saw a shadow dart behind the trees. And then, silence again. He grabbed his flashlight and shined it toward the woods. Nothing. When he turned back, one of his camera tripods had fallen over. Camera was gone. Ethan panicked. That camera was expensive. He searched the area for 20 minutes, scanning the ground with his flashlight. The forest was cold, the fog growing thicker. Finally, he found it, near the tree line lying in the dirt. It had been moved at least 30 feet. The lens was cracked, and when he checked the SD card, it had footage. He sat inside his tent, zipped it shut, and watched the clips on his laptop. The first few seconds were normal, his time-lapse of the stars. Then, at some point during the night, the camera moved on its own. Someone had picked it up. The footage showed the camera shaking, turning slowly toward his tent. And then a figure appeared, a man. He was standing inches away from Ethan's tent, barefoot, smiling. Video ended right there. No sound, no explanation. Ethan's heart pounded. He turned off his laptop, grabbed his flashlight, and whispered, "Who's out there?" No reply. Just outside his tent, he heard breathing, deep, slow, like someone trying to stay quiet. He ripped open the tent zipper and shined his light out. Nothing, only fog and trees. Then, snap. A twig broke behind him. He spun around and saw movement near the lake. A figure running, disappearing into the woods. Ethan chased for a few seconds, but stopped. He realized how dark and endless the forest was. He was alone. He returned to his tent, trembling. He stayed awake the entire night, gripping a knife he kept for safety. Every few minutes, he'd hear distant rustling, never close but never far. When dawn came, he packed everything up fast. But before leaving, he noticed something near the lake shore. Small prints in the mud. Bare feet, adult-sized, and dozens of them circling his campsite. He left instantly, but the story doesn't end there. A week later, Ethan reviewed the footage again at home. He wanted to delete it, to forget what happened, but curiosity made him check one last time. He paused the clip where the barefoot man stood near his tent. For the first time, he noticed something horrifying. Behind the man was another face, half hidden in the shadows, peeking from behind a tree, pale, expressionless, watching. He replayed the scene in slow motion and realized there wasn't just one intruder. There were three, and one of them had been crawling on the ground, right beside his sleeping bag. Footage froze, static flickering. Ethan never went camping again. He stopped uploading videos. Friends say he moved away, sold his gear, and avoids the woods completely now. But here's the part that truly haunts him. Last month, he received an unmarked envelope in the mail. Inside was a single SD card. When he played it, it showed footage of him sleeping in his own bedroom. If you've ever gone camping alone, remember this story. Check the corners of your tent, check the trees, and if you hear footsteps, don't call out, because sometimes the forest isn't empty, it's listening, and something or someone might be waiting for you to close your eyes.